Hello and good evening. I hope you can hear me today. I hope that we don't have the same problems as yesterday. I believe there are a few of you here. Good evening to Tina. Yes, good evening to Johnny. And Bernadette, Melissa, Paulie, Banky Wood, Kaz, whoever else is coming in, Angela Thompson, Tina, and Mother Duck, Heidi Crimmins. Cheers to you all. So happy evening and best wishes to you. Here we are again. So I hope you can all hear me, because yesterday some of you could not, but I don't know about these gremlins in the system, but there we go. So there's plenty to talk about this evening. So much going on in the world. Here I am down in sunny Saint-Tropez, where today they had a rally of over 1,000 Porsches, and I believe maybe thousands of people attended, along with thousands of other cars, because the whole town was completely clogged up and it was impossible to get anywhere around there. So I went to a very nice little town up in the hills, which called Gassan, which has beautiful views, and that is a charming thing to do on a day like today. And the rosé did flow, so that was very pleasant. I hope you've all had a wonderful Saturday yourselves. You can hear me loud and clear. Well, about time too, because yesterday was a bit of a nuisance. I think the Friday 13th gremlin got into the system, or was it something to do with Bernard Eccleston, convicted fraudster, criminal? I don't know. They do seem to like causing me trouble. So anyway, these gremlins and these trolls, and I have trolls from the Ghislaine Maxwell camp, I have trolls from other matters I've dealt with, so one ends up having to deal with this kind of nonsense on a regular basis when you run a publication, because they infect it as much as they can. They're these troublemakers, but anyway, these trolls don't need to be spoken about. We've all had a very jolly day, I hope. And before we begin, I'm sorry, I've just dropped my notebook. There we go. Need the notebook. I shall say that on Monday evening, I shall be on Sean Atwood's program on his channel. I did he conducted an interview with me about the matter of the Jimmy Savile Reckoning program, and I believe he's putting that up on Monday. So if you wish to watch it, I don't know what time it's on there, but if you do, please do tune into that. There we go. So that is that. And then the next thing that I thought I would begin with is the story of a man called Backstairs Billy. I've just been sent some information about a play that is coming out, opening on the 27th of October. It stars Luke Evans as Backstairs Billy, who's a man called William Talon, and Penelope Wilton as the Queen Mother. Now, I did meet Backstairs Billy at someone's parties. This particular woman used to have him around her parties. She associated with the Queen Mother herself, and he would be there. And, you know, he was a man with a bit of a history, let's be honest. This play is called Backstairs Billy. He was the steward and page of the Backstairs, hence his nickname. He had a bit of a reputation for all sorts of other things, but his name was William Talon. He was known as Billy Talon, to those that liked him. And Michael Grandage Company are producing this, and they're presenting it with a new comedy by Marcelo dos Santos. It's set in 1979, all about Thatcher coming to power, but it's business as usual for the Queen Mother and Billy at Clarence House, they say, in their introduction to it. You can get tickets to this for £10. So if you want a bit of entertainment and you want to see Penelope Wilson and Luke Evans, and many people seem to love both of those people, this might be a good thing for you to go and see. There you go. So they say receptions are in full swing and the champagne is flowing as the two worlds start to collide. This is Thatcher and the royal family, with dizzying consequences. Now, this was an era when, austerity reigned like it does now in Britain, yet the Queen Mother thought she could carry on regardless, and she lived in a different way because she was from a different era and she was rather used to getting everything her own way. This was a very murky world. I don't know how much this play will delve into that, but the situation of this man, William Talon, who was born in 1935 and he died in 2007. He was a member of the Queen Mother's staff at Clarence House, which is, of course, now the home of King Charles. He was born above his grandfather's hardware shop in Berkeley, County Durham. He ended up working in Clarence House, and he was totally dedicated to the Queen Mother, I would say. And having met him, his dedication to this lady was very clear. He, however, was known to be a little difficult. He lived in the gate lodge to the building, and after her death, when she was 101, he was heartbroken. He was sent off to live in Kennington, southeast London. He subsequently died of liver failure. There were many incidents where he sort of got into trouble, and there was one where he was found in a gutter or something, and he struggled, I think. So the man had dedicated his life to this family, and I think at the end it was all rather sad. But this play is being criticized by the family of the relatives of this of William Talon. Now, I just think it might be something that would be interesting to go to watch. So if you can get a £10 ticket, I think that's a moment of culture that I would recommend, because Penelope Wilton is a wonderful actress. And I think Luke Evans is rather a talented gentleman also. So I do urge you all to look into it. I do not know if it's any good. I have been invited to go and see it, but currently I am not in the vicinity, so I will not be going quite yet. But when I return, maybe I will, if I have the chance. So we will see. It runs until, just a moment, the 27th of January, which is my birthday, 2024. But I don't think I wish to spend my birthday watching a play about that particular man. But there we go. So Harriet Blanca says, Debbie McGee is ready and willing to assist with a quiz. So we will thank Harriet and accept her kind offer. Our resident Debbie McGee for the Saint-Tropez holiday period. Thank you very much, Harriet. So that is the matter of that. Now, I shall return to my main topics. Now, my main topic this evening is the fact that 24 fines have been issued over lockdown parties organised by a man called Sean Bailey. He wanted to be Mayor of London. He failed to be Mayor of London. He's failed to do very much. I shall read some of his comments from things I've written about him in the past shortly. But on the 14th of December, he held a boozy jingle and mingle, and that was the name of the party, a jingle and mingle bash at Matthew Parker Street, London. People like Nick Candy, who's married to a Neighbours actress and singer, forget her name, some blonde girl. She and her husband live in huge wealth. He has a company called Candy and Candy. He built One Hyde Park, which is one of the most expensive buildings in Britain to live in. Flats there sell regularly for 100 and something plus million. Even a one bedroom that was repossessed was about 5 million, 7 million, or 8 million, or something. It's completely mad. There we go. But Lord Bailey, he was previously just Sean Bailey, but was put in the House of Lords by his little crony Boris Johnson. Previously apologised unreservedly because COVID restrictions on the 14th of December 2020 were enforced. I, at the time, remember, I walked along the street to a supermarket and I was questioned by the police and asked, "Where are you going?" Absolutely ridiculous. There is no bath or shower running in the background here. I have no idea what noises you're hearing. No, there are no noises here, so I don't know what noise you think you're hearing, but as far as I'm aware, there isn't any noise. There we go. So I can't possibly comment on noises, but this seems to be something that happens regularly when I speak on this channel from here. But this is France, so the internet is very different to my internet in England. But there we go. You're complaining about the microphone. Okay, well, the microphone is working and it's going up and down on the screen, but I cannot change the microphone. It's an Apple computer. It's perfectly adequate in my view, but some of you can hear it, some of you can't. Anyway, the investigation was reopened by the Metropolitan Police after the Mirror shared a video clip. The video clip featured a woman called Malin Baker-Bogue. We will come to her shortly. Malin Baker-Bogue is a complete disgrace, an absolutely appalling woman who has no respect for dignity and decency, in my particular view. I have contacted her employers to make complaints about the matter when and to ask questions about the matter, whether they endorsed their employee behaving this way, but we'll come to that shortly. The BBC also published the invite revealing the event's name, which was Jingle and Mingle. This was at a time when everybody else was going to have to spend Christmas, their Christmases ruined, locked up, and not able to see their dying relatives and their old friends, and people like me, lonely and sad as I was by myself. But I followed the rules, and many other people did. Don't say I agree with the rules. Don't say I don't agree with the rules. But I'm saying the rules were there, and these people who made these rules, the Conservative Party, allowed people within their party to breach these rules in this way. That is an outrage and a disgrace. That is completely wrong. The Metropolitan Police have today confirmed that the fines have been issued to 24 people. Now, there were 24 people at that party, allegedly at least 24, for breaches of the COVID-19 regulations. Shame on the lot of them. Shame on them for their jingling, jangling, mingling, mangling. They sound a bit like Jimmy Savile. He was jingle, jangle, I'm Jimmy Savile. What an utter bunch of toe rags. What an utter bunch of disgraces. You know, this Nick Candy's a billionaire more than anyone else because, you know, he can afford it. It's rather like Bernie Ecclestone. Find these people, tax the hell out of them, tax them till the pips squeak, because frankly, why should these people think they can behave differently to the rest of us? You know, it's appalling. It's disrespectful. This is not the Conservative Party that, you know, my grandfather would have supported. What I used to support. I don't support the Conservative Party anymore, nor does my father. There's nothing to support there. And we agree with Max Hastings, who has come out and said we would rather have Keir Starmer. Frankly, yes, even though I think he's as much use as a chocolate teapot. But this Rishi Sunak, he couldn't control him. He couldn't control a penny operating machine. You know, he's an appalling waste of space. Terrible. Anyway, they are now doing a second investigation into a gathering on the 8th of December 2020, which also breached the rules. So more of them are going to be investigated. This government that was run by Boris Johnson, which was really run by Carrie Johnson, let's be honest, Carrie, Princess Nutnut, has had no respect for you or I. You meant nothing to them. They didn't care. They don't like you. The rules are the rules for them. The rules don't exist for us. They have profiteered. Michelle Mone, all the rest of them, disgraceful. The PPE, all the rest of it. Dido Harding, awful people, dreadful. Anyway, this particular man, let's begin with him, Sean Bailey. Sean Bailey was wrongly attacked in 2021 by the former dim-witted dunce that was a Labour MP for Kensington, Emma Dent Coad. She's now running as an independent because the Labour Party have kicked her out, which is not surprising. She's an abhorrent rent-a-gob. She called him a token ghetto boy. That is totally appalling. He shouldn't have been called that by her because she's just an appalling person. But this man, Bailey, you know, he went around trying to become mayor of London. He allowed Sadiq Khan to get in, which is another disgrace because now we've got this stupid Eulers zone. He called himself a different dude. He branded himself gobby and dangerous. His idiotic policies included giving free burglar alarms to pensioners. He once also suggested that the 60,000 plus homeless people in the capital should be able to save up £5,000 for a deposit to buy a share in a newly built affordable home. Well, if you're homeless, how are you going to get £5,000 in savings when you can't even afford to put yourself in a shelter for the night? The man was an absolute fool. In 2005, he claimed accommodating Muslims and Hindus in the UK was robbing Britain of its community. His nonsense was clearly shown to be such, given the 2011 census revealed that 40.2% of London's population was non-white. It was not over 50%. Another blunder came in since quite rightly removed comments he left on the Conservative Women's Organisation website. This is from one of my own articles. There, he observed, if you could get girls to accept less of men's rubbish, then men would have to change, because ultimately men are after a girl. And this man has been put into the House of Lords. It's an utter shameful disgrace. He made a video in May 2019 with the absolutely ghastly Owen Jones. He declared nobody has a monopoly on common sense. Well, he hasn't got an ounce of such. You know, he gets on well with Boris Johnson. He was snapped mingling with Priti Patel, you know, another absolute fool. The woman voted a neighbour from hell. David Cameron helped elevate him, you know, all the rest of it. He was forced in 2019 to return donations to his campaign from an impermissible donor. So he didn't even check his own donors were suitable because they were linked to the Paradise Papers scandal. How on earth was this bozo put into the House of Lords? This is an utter shameful disgrace. He should resign from the House of Lords. He is an appalling lawbreaker. He has been caught out for his party. Now, as for this Malin Baker Bogue, who was the one caught dressing in her red dress, the Partygate pisshead, as she was named by me, she is from San Francisco. She's worked with the Conservative Party for quite a while. And she was videoed dancing to the Pogues' Fairy Tale of New York at the party. And this party was held at Matthew Parker Street, London, SW1, the Conservative Party's offices. She used to be involved in polo. She's come out with statements, when I dance, they call me Macarena, she once boasted. She's a pro-Trump lobbyist, and she works for a company called Stonehaven. I did inquire to Stonehaven if they endorsed their employee doing the things she did, and they did not respond. You know, she is shocking in her views. She once told Reuters of Donald Trump, I do find it curious the amount of opium and time that protesters dedicate to the freely elected leader of a free country that they don't direct towards the visit of somebody like the president of China. She traveled to, as part of the Israel delegation in 2015 to Israel with the Right Honourable Nigel Adams. She's been involved with the controversial businessman Sanjeev Gupta. Her behaviour is indicative of all that is wrong with this country. You know, this woman is appalling, and this man, Bailey, is appalling. And Miss Bogue was questioned by the Mirror again at the Conservative conference. She is still within them. They have not thrown her out. Now, I say that she should be thrown out and that Bailey, more importantly, should be thrown out. Dreadful, horrible people. Absolutely shocking. So that is my view on that. Right. We've dealt with that, we've dealt with that, and we've dealt with that. So I shall move along to another matter, which we shall talk briefly of because we're already nearly halfway through this. Captain Tom's tearful daughter. Hannah Ingram Moore. Now, this Captain Tom, people in the lockdowns hailed this wonderful gentleman for doing good, and he did try to do good. He walked around and he raised huge amounts of money, millions and millions. He did not do anything wrong. Nobody should criticize Captain Tom, but his daughter, it seems, who has been giving interviews to Piers Morgan in recent days, Piers Morgan's Uncensored yesterday, has been, it seems, enjoying salaries, having spas built in her garden, book sales 800,000, awards appearances 18,000, salary 85,000, spa 200,000, COVID loans 47,500, furlough money 100,000, and she is still trying to justify her position from her Bedfordshire home in a 90-minute interview, a wide-ranging interview, according to the Daily Mail. The Captain Tom Foundation building, which had a pool in it. They had a controversial holiday to Barbados where they met up with the creepy Christian crooner, Cliff Richard, all the rest of it. She said she couldn't store things in her house because there were too many things sent. They had to be stored in London at large cost. It was taking over our house and our office. She said it wasn't selfish. Now, we will see whether this was selfish or not in due course, but this woman breached planning permission by building a building that was not even matching the planning application. So, what was the need for this plunge pool, spa pool, and all the rest of it? What's that got to do with this when poor old Captain Tom is brown bread? He's dead. He didn't need it. So what she was doing, God only knows. But I say that this is yet another example of the Charity Commission failing to do its job. The Charity Commission in this country, in Britain, is not fit for purpose. I found it when I dealt with a woman called Baroness Mayer's charity called Pact. They did nothing to investigate. They said, you have to complain to the directors. The directors included her husband. And that's how it works, half these charities. And subsequently, her charity no longer exists. But as Richard Eden exposed when he worked at the Daily Telegraph, most of the income of that charity was paid to her in salary, and the rest in expenses. Very little went to the actual cause. And many people in this country are absolutely sick and tired of charity beginning at home for these people. It is a travesty. If you're the little old lady who gives £5 in your post office in Wales to save the donkey, you should expect that I would say at least £4 of that goes to the cause, not for paying for corporate executives from charities to fly around the world on private jets, or in some cases, any charity that gives less than 50% of what the public give it shouldn't exist. There's no point of them existing because it's a complete waste of the public's money. And there should be fewer charities, because why do we need hundreds of cancer charities? Why don't you merge them together? Why don't we have lots of smaller, all these smaller charities could work together? But the big problem with some of these bigger charities is the corporate greed sets in, because the problem is, I think if you work for charity, you should work for a charity because you believe in the cause. you should not work for charity because you want a high salary. If you want a high salary, go and work in a city bank. That is the place to do it. It is not the place. If you believe in helping old ladies or helping whales or stopping trafficking or whatever it is, then that is why you would get involved in a particular cause. It is not because you want a salary. And this woman, Hannah Ingram Moore, she doesn't come out of this story very well. She's trying to turn the story around, and she's somebody who clearly loved her father, but what does she love now? It seems she loves the benefits that go with the association with this story, and all the power went to her head. It's a bit like Mr. and Mrs. McCann. Now, their book is mostly about when we were on NetJets and when we were with Philip Green, and when we were with this one, and when we were with that one. It's ridiculous. They talk in their book about how they went and had vodka and strawberry cocktails with Sir Clement Freud, who was frankly not a very nice man in the days after, and risotto in the days after their child went missing. How they played tennis. The story becomes diluted because the story is no longer about the real story. In the case of this, it was Captain Tom Moore. In the case of that, it was Madeleine McCann. It wasn't the parents, and it wasn't Hannah Ingram Moore. That is the big problem. So that is all I have to say on that. I think that this was a shocking disgrace. Another very interesting story I read today was titled "The Day I Found £200,000 of Cocaine on an Isle of Wight Beach." Dog Walker was agog as scores of drug-filled bundles washed up on the south coast. A lady called Kate Wolfe had been walking her dog, and she stumbled upon a bag which contained £200,000 of cocaine. Most people who go to Jurassic Coast are looking for fossils. Now, she didn't find a fossil. She found £200,000 of cocaine, which does sound like an awful lot, but it turns out the story, in my view, missed the point, because though she found this cocaine that had clearly been thrown into the sea in the bag, with tracking devices so people could collect it, 200,000 is actually not a lot. Other people have found up to £4 million in recent years, and in 2011 there was a case involving some people called the Freshwater Five, and that was concerning £53 million of cocaine. So this is the numbers we're dealing with here are quite low. Mrs. Wolfe was most concerned about her terrier, Lunaroo. I've never heard of someone call a dog Lunaroo, but it sounds more like lunatic. And she was worried that Lunaroo was licking the cocaine, so she called 999. People have said to her, "Oh, you're crazy. Why didn't you keep some?" Maybe they were joking, but anyway, that's not how I want to live my life. I'm not a drug user, so it never crossed my mind. Well, she's an honest lady in that regard, but how much was she paid for this story? Well, we'll never probably know. But it seems that the Isle of Wight is becoming fast a haven for this kind of activity. This week, Hampshire and Isle of Wight police appealed for a suspected bootlegger to come forward. So this was another person who'd also come across it. He was described as about 60, 5'6" tall, and of slim build, with short grey hair and a distinctive birthmark on the right side of his mouth. Police have been told that he found a cocaine package on the beach last Saturday. So they were hoping that he would hand in his £100,000 windfall. Well, thank you to JJ for the £10 and for your message saying pleasant evening. Thank you. Well, it's not quite over yet, JJ, but thank you very much for your generous donation. It's not quite £100,000 windfall, but £10 is £10, and that's very generous of you. Thank you. So I, unfortunately, in the looking out the window here where the mooring is outside, all I get are little fish outside. I don't get washed up in cocaine, thank God, but I don't want it because I don't take drugs. But you know, there we go. I haven't had the 100,000 windfall, but Mrs. Another one called Kate said, oh, this is her again. Kate, who found that walks the stretch of beach every day and knows all the regulars by sight. Typical Daily Mail reporting. She says she's encountered some shifty-looking strangers in recent days. She's rather like one of those people who says, you know, you don't look like you're from round here. You know, are you a local? The Fast Show, I think it was. One guy was wading through the water in Wellington's. Well, what's abnormal about that? At a point that it is difficult to get around, she claims, just as the tide was coming in. I've never seen anyone do that before. So she sounds a busy woman. When I remarked on his wellies, he mumbled something weird. She definitely sounds a bit weird. And I've seen other strangers, stranger danger, walking around as if they're searching for something. Shades here of whiskey galore, said the Mail. And that's a great film. I recommend to all of you watching the 1994 film, which is a true story of the islanders looting thousands of bottles of scotch that washed up. And, you know, there have been many things that wash up. Sometimes a Rolls Royce can wash up in a container boat or, you know, not that there's any use. In Broadstairs, I encountered an episode where a yacht broke up and it washed up on the beach, and I met this man who tried to steal the microwave because it was a Miele microwave. And I said, well, what did you do with it? And he said, well, I took it home and I plugged it in. And I said, what happened? He said, well, sparks came out of it. I said, are you surprised? It's covered in salt water. And I said, he said, well, it didn't work. And then I said, well, what did you do with it? And he said, oh, I took it back to the beach and threw it back in. I thought, well, that was a very irresponsible thing to do. But meanwhile, down there seem to be a lot of these parcels arriving. You know, £42 million washed up on the Welsh coast near Aberystwyth this time last year. So, and in August, a beach cleaner uncovered a bag worth 100,000 lying in the sand at Bude. So they're dumping it in lots of locations. But these Freshwater Five I find very interesting. They are represented by a lady called Emily Bolton. And they were fishermen who were sentenced to a total of 104 years, even though the evidence to me suggests that it wasn't them. And they're represented by an organization called Appeal, and they continue to campaign for justice. And I urge you to watch the programs about this. Very interesting programs. So I would say, look into this. The gentleman concerned were the scaffolding business owner, Jonathan Beer, fishing boat skipper, Jamie Green, crew member, Zoran Dresic, fisherman Daniel Payne, Scott Burstwhistle. Two of them are still in prison. They consistently maintain their innocence, according to Appeal, and have brought evidence to the Criminal Cases Review Commission, another token useless organization that doesn't do anything for victims, in my particular victims of injustice. which showed that they did not pick up drugs from a channel or deposit them in the waters of Freshwater Bay, hence why they're the Freshwater Five off the Isle of Wight. So I do urge you to please watch the program, which was on the BBC about this. I'm sure you can find it on the iPlayer. I cannot access the iPlayer here in France, so I can't provide you with a link myself. But it seems that the Isle of Wight is fast becoming a place that gets more and more of this going on. So, it's a bit of a narcotics paradise, I suppose. Very, very odd, but there we go. BBC Victoria Derbyshire programme is called The Case of the Drug Smuggling Fisherman. You can watch that on YouTube. The Mysterious Case of the Drug Smuggling Fisherman. I would urge you to watch the Victoria Derbyshire programme. That is one you can watch from anywhere. So wherever you are in the world. There we go. Anyway, that's the story of that. And my final story for you is one that's a bit more positive. A liquor store in a tiny Californian town are to get $1 million for selling the 1.765 billion winning lottery ticket. And this involves the Midway Market and Liquor Store in Frazier Park, California, and they get a cut of the winnings because that's how it works with Powerball in America. National Lottery should do the same in England. This is a nice thing that's happened to a small town store. It contrasts with the story of the dreadful story of what's happened to all those postmasters in England who were treated so badly by, the big powerful bosses. In this case, Powerball, if your store sells the winning ticket, you get a percentage. Now, that's a nice thing. It's the opposite of the Fujitsu Royal Mail scandal, which has been an utterly shameful episode. So this little town, the Midway Market, which is somewhere off a freeway in the middle of nowhere, it's owned by two brothers, Chris Khalil and his brother Jonathan, and they've been selling the tickets for 30 years. He said, after 30 years of selling these tickets, we need a winner. I'm just happy for my customer. And he is from Syria originally. And he said most of his customers are retirees. They're all very nice people. We have a talk every morning. I don't know who won. I'm sure it's a local or someone will know them. He said, we're not that close to the freeway, so you'd have to go out of your way to come here. It's a tight-knit community. Everybody knows each other. It's got a population of 3,000, so there's somebody amongst that community who is now a billionaire. Quiet, beautiful, you can see the stars at night. And I thought this was a charming, lovely story. And I thought they were so positive about, how they were delighted for the people who'd won. But they get £1 million prize themselves. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And that was a nice story in The Guardian. The Guardian also did write about other people who have won who've not claimed. And there was a woman who also had claimed that she'd put it in the laundry. And there's a case currently over a $26 million win concerning her, because she has no evidence other than she claimed that she was on the cameras in the shop. But to prove your win, you've got to have some kind of documentary evidence. But we will see what happens with her. But I think it is absolutely delightful that these two happy gentlemen, Chris Khalil and his brother Jonathan, who have been dedicated to their small community, and they posed for photographs with a winning ticket, a winning check, and it said the lucky winner 1.6765 billion. Obviously, it's a ceremonial check; it means nothing. But they look like decent people, and they've clearly been good workers to their community, and that is a pleasant, lovely thing. So I think it is now time to move along. It is Saturday evening, and you all love a quiz. So I don't know if my Debbie McGee is ready, but I've got to choose a random page. If you don't like this quiz, you don't have to partake. If you don't like the way it's run, you don't have to partake. It's a bit of fun. It's just for jolliness. It's just for a bit of a giggle. It's not to be taken too seriously. So those of you that get upset about it, please don't, because there really is no point. Right, I think I've found a random page that I haven't covered before. So let me just make sure it is a random page. I should have marked off the pages, but I never anticipated we'd be doing this quite so often. And automatically, I'm getting Cilla Black answers straight away. Well, it's Laura laughs. So, question number 1. Which was the first to be advertised on television in 1955? Toothpaste or shampoo? It was not Anthea Turner. The winner, who gives a brand, S.R. Gibbs, I don't know if that is true, answered toothpaste. The answer is toothpaste. I do not know the brand, but no, I do not put marks in books. The person whose name I will not say because people might get offended. Question number 2. I better make sure I said the name. Pip Field, sorry, is the winner. Pip Field gets the point. Question number 2. In sport, this is a very silly question in my view. Has the Grand National been run for more or less than 100 years? Well, anyone with a brain would know the answer to this immediately. And the answer is not Anthea Turner. The winner is Bambi Debonair with more. It has been run since 1839. Haven't got the book here, but my Unexpected Tales of Horse Racing book details many bizarre incidents that happened in the Grand National. Fascinating reading. I have mentioned the book before. Question number 3. In biology, when organs, which organ removes waste material from the blood? It's not the liver, no. It's not the bowel. It's not the lymph. The Mr. Lee Kicker wins with kidney. Mr. Lee Kicker. He's a new one. I don't know Mr. Lee Kicker from. Maybe he's been here before, but I haven't heard of him in recent days. Right. Thank you, Mr. Lee Kicker, for joining in. Question number 4. Palma is the capital of which of Spain's Balearic Islands? The winner is Simon Coates with Mallorca. Simon Coates gets the point. Question number 5. In film, who directed A Nightmare on Elm Street and the Scream horror series? It was not Keith Chegwin. The answer winning is Pip Field yet again. Pip Field gets another point. Wes Craven. Pip Field gets the point. Question number 6. Which What is the most northerly town of the British Isles? I have been there. The top of Scotland, obviously. It is not Stevenage, Wick, or Peckham, or Forres, which is a lovely place. And it's not Inverness, no. This is a town. It's not Unst, it's not John O'Groats, and it's not Land's End. You're going the wrong way. It's not Tongue, which is another lovely place. It's not the Seychelles. No. It's not Thurso. It's not Liverpool. It's not Kirkwall. No, you're not doing very well here. It's not Iceland. Iceland is not part of the British Isles. It's not Hull. That's where John Prescott hangs out. It's not Thurso, Skye, or Royston Vasey. The winner is Nicole with Lerwick. Nicole gets the point. There we go. Nicole is the winner. It's taken a long time, and it's certainly not the Isle of Wight. You're definitely going the wrong way, and you're perhaps thinking too much about the Freshwater Five and their story, and perhaps what you could find there. So there we are. Question 7. Which part of the basil plant is used to flavour food? The winner is Bambi Debonair with Leaf. Bambi Debonair gets that point. In the business world, question 8, what is the name of the organisation represented by the initials CBI? A rather controversial organisation in recent times to do with a bit of sexual shenanigans. The winner is Simon Coates with the Confederation of British Industry. Simon Coates gets the point. Right, question number 9. Which common breed of black and white dairy cattle was introduced from the Netherlands early in the 20th century? The winner is Simon Coates again, Frisian. Question number 10. In what decade was the television program Match of the Day first broadcast? We only need the decade. We don't need the year. The winner is Bambi Debonair, yet again, with the 1960s. Bambi Debonair gets the point. Question number 11. Complete this song title from the musical Paint Your Wagon. I was born under ... what? And we need it with the correct apostrophe. Well, Simon Coates has got it correctly, but not spelt it correctly. So the winner actually, because it has to be spelt correctly according to this, the winner is Linda Joe, who says a wandering star. It's spelt with R-I-N. And on this occasion, they are specific that that is the answer that should be accepted. So she gets the point. Which was the first West African country to win independence from the UK? Ghana or Nigeria? It wasn't Guyana, Pipfield. I think you probably meant to say Ghana, but the winner, we will accept you meant, I say you were first. Pipfield can have the point for Ghana, but you don't know how to spell Ghana, that's the only issue. Question that I missed out. In music, What was the title of the Mamas and what was the title of the Mamas and the Papas debut hit? Can't say I've heard of them, but there we go. I've heard of their music. So, what was the title? It wasn't California Rain, no, and it wasn't Monday Monday. Seeking Rainbows gets the point with California Dreaming. Seeking Rainbows. So there we go. The next question. In medicine, lumbago directly affects which part of the human body? The winner is Simon Coates with back. Simon Coates gets that point. Question 15. In fashion, which M is a maker of women's hats and headwears? Which person whose job title begins with an M? It's not shampoo. It is Pipfield with Milliner. Pipfield gets the point. Simon Coates came a close second, and I believe he's currently in the lead. But Anna Perkins is also doing well here with, all the rest of them. You're all giving very good answers, other than to the answer about the most northerly town of the British Isles. So some of you need to do a few more bits of studying of geography. There you go. I can't tell you I'm not particularly good at quizzes myself, but I seem to enjoy asking other people quiz questions. Question 16. We're coming towards the end. In pop music in the 1950s, who had a UK #1 hit with Dreamboat? Lita Rosa or Alma Cogan? I couldn't answer this question myself. It wasn't Elton John's wig. It was Alma Cogan, and Bambi Debonair can have that point, even though you've spelled her name Alam, but you mean Alma, I can tell, so I will accept your mistake. Question 17. In theatre, which type of party makes the title of a Harold Pinter play? I had to study this at school, so I would have known this one. It wasn't Abigail's party, no, and it wasn't Kidney Party. It wasn't Tea Party. It wasn't Arse Party. Misty Meadows can have it with the birthday. It was the birthday party, but Misty Meadows is the one to get it first. Sensible. Misty Meadow, rather than some of the other odd responses. I don't think Anne Robinson would have tolerated some of those. Which Roman general was known to his countrymen as Marcus Antonius? It wasn't Caesar, and it wasn't Ibiza. It wasn't Caligula. The first person to say the name in full, because obviously it has to be, is Mark Antony. Sweet Sue said Ark Antony, but I think we have to accept Simon Coates gets the point with Mark Antony. Question 19. In the children's television series, which Teletubby has a scooter? It wasn't Dang. Simon Coates immediately gets it with Poe. Simon Coates is very quick. Tonight, he is fastest finger forward. Question number 20. Tiger Bay is an area in which British city? Where is Tiger Bay? It's not in Scilla, and it's not in Craggy Island. Sweet Sue thinks it's Simon Coates' favourite TV show. Catherine Vaughan gets the point. Catherine Vaughan with Cardiff. So Catherine Vaughan